It is the Friday night. I've got Kev Walsh, I've got Pete Bolster, I've got John Gibbons before Liverpool go to Wolverhampton to face Wolverhampton Wanderers, infamously at 12:30. First and foremost, I'm just made up it's back, Kev. They were great against Villa. I loved it. I was away. I didn't get to enjoy everyone post-match when everyone was buzzing, coming out of a steaming hot Anfield, having a fabulous time, talking about how great Liverpool were. But I got to watch it, and I was quietly buzzing off the back of them. I thought this looked like a serious footy team and made up the playing.
I think the general consensus was it's great to see us do that to anybody, but particularly somebody like Villa, we've all thought they're going to have half a challenge, and I still think they will. I think they've had a couple of tough games, haven't they, and they haven't come off well. But it was great, and like it was a lovely hot day as well, as you said, it was boiling hot. But the performance was just like unbelievable. It was just like we held them at arm's length, we did exactly what we wanted to do with them, and then it was just bang, 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 and it just looked fantastic. And yeah, I can't wait to see it again tomorrow.
Do you think we will see it again tomorrow? Because I think that's hard. That, you know, first and foremost, whether or not they're coming back from wherever they've been in the world, setting back in. I think it's, for me, tomorrow's a massive game. Like, I genuinely think it's enormous, because I think if they do win tomorrow, first and foremost, as simple as 4 wins from the first 5, something. But I think it's also a real, we're serious here. Winning the Molineux in these circumstances, I think it's like serious. We're not messing about.
Yeah, I think Liverpool will go into it. Obviously, we've got the news that Trent's not going to be there, but I think you just go back up. We had a discussion in this very pub the other week about we've got the best front 6 or whatever you want to call it in the league. Go out there and just say to them, listen, the defence might be a little bit porous today, but they'll be like, today? Do you know what I mean? We've been playing about these for ages, you know. And just go up Wolves. Wolves are a mess. They're a struggle. Now listen, you can be made to look daft on stuff like that because it's Molineux, it's the 12:30 on a Saturday, which is an notorious. Let's put it this way, nobody bets on it, Judy. But I just feel like we are a serious team again. I just think the players are just like, we're just not letting these stand in our way, and we've got more than enough firepower. And I'm lucky enough now, enough options to make do with the lads who've been away and maybe have been flogged a little bit by the national team to say, okay, well, we'll switch you out for maybe, even if it's just the first half, and then have loads off the bench to just go on probably what will be a tired Wolves team, hopefully.
Serious football team, I think, that was the big Aston Villa thing. It was boss against Newcastle because of what happens with Nunez. Chelsea was all a bit wild, back and forth. Bournemouth, you know, they play well for 50 minutes, but you're still going, I'm not quite sure, where are we, what's it about? Serious football team was the Villa thing, and serious football teams go to Molineux and win.
Yeah, the great thing about Villa was it's on the back of Newcastle, which is a great win and a mad win, but you can always tell yourself the wrong story sometimes if you're not careful. Like, what does it mean? Is it just one of those mad games where, you know, you smash and grab, or does it show a real mental strength? Does it show a winning mentality that you're able to sort of stick in there, keep believing? And I think Villa suggests that it's more the latter than the former, really. If they'd have got beat by Villa, then maybe Newcastle would have been like, you know, we read too much into that, it was just a bit of a mad game. But now they followed it up with that commanding performance against the Villa team, who, by the way, Newcastle turned over on the early on in the season. I think, you know, it does say a lot, the fact that they're on 10 points, and I hope they can keep that into Wolves. Obviously, they've all gone here, there and everywhere and around the world, but I hope when they all sort of get back together, they quickly remember that feeling of, you know, whatever they went into Villa with, that worked. You know, whatever they did in training, whatever the manager said, whatever the feeling was, you know, amongst them, that worked. And so hopefully they were able to get that, you know, back quickly and go into this game, because you just feel like, I'm with Kev, you know, listen, if we know this Liverpool team, if they're not on it, then anyone can beat us. You know, we can get beat by the dog and duck, but we know when we are on it that, you know, with a team like Wolves, then they'll just sort of do them. So all the motivation's there.
I think all the motivations that are interesting. In his press conference, he talks about year one of a new thing. I think he also is so upbeat and effusive. You know, he looks to me like he's buzzing off everything. He's aggressive, don't get me wrong, but he feels very much like himself, I think, and I think that's the players. I think that's the idea of what he's doing in work with them, what he thinks of them. Pete, I think he feels like, yeah, let's have some of this.
I think you're only as good as your tools, aren't you? So he looks rejuvenated, regalvanised to me, because last season, I mean, Wolves away was probably our really low point, wasn't it? Where you just.
I mean, you can argue he did in the press conference. He was like, "Was that not Brighton?" You feel like he's got 6 or 7.
Well, there was a few 3-0s, wasn't there? But
at least playing were good.
Yeah, exactly. we made Wolves look really good, didn't we? But no, I think he's rejuvenated. I think we've got a new manager, haven't we? Norbert Klopp this time, isn't it? So I'm all in on his ride as well. But like, going back to what you're just saying there, it's just literally the manager's only as good as the players that he's got. So he can make key differences, and we've spoke at length about mistakes that he's made last season. He could have done this or that in certain areas, but this is a new Liverpool because we've got the new midfield. That from 5, that from 6 with Ben Doak. They were inhibited last season because they were strangled by the midfield. There was no that pass forward. Everyone was saying about Mo Salah signed £350,000 a week. Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he? He wasn't getting past the ball. And when he was, there was a lot of people on him. We had players missing like Diaz all season. He's got this squad now. It's quite exciting. The reason why it's a serious football match tomorrow is because the question mark still is: are we a serious football team? And if we win tomorrow and we go top of the league, we will start to look like a serious football team, and most Liverpool fans then will start to say, come on, that's it, 4 out of 5. And we carry that momentum from the international break. It's also the unbeaten thing for me is massive. Like, I think there's loads of ways this team could be, and this sounds like a mad sentence given everything that's gone on. It could be unbeaten in 22 all comps by the time we get to the next international break. Now, listen, it can all go badly wrong because it's football and that's the way it goes. But they are unbeaten in 15 league games, and they haven't felt like that at times, if we're all honest about it. But that's where they are. No, there's just been many games on the edge. I remember Leeds last season where it was a 5 or 6 that we beat them. But not every game was like that. We were just doing enough to win or to hang in there. But I think there's a points tally that we got more points than Arsenal since Christmas last season.
Everyone's picking a bit too that we got more points than Arsenal.
Do you know what though? Sometimes when the season's halfway through, that's what you cling on to. And I think it happened the season before the 13-14 season when we signed Sturridge and Coutinho.
We finished that season nice and strong.
Went on a nice strong run. And it means nothing unless you continue it. And now they are continuing it. So for me, I'm all in anyway. I am excited. I do believe it's the new Liverpool. I'm very excited about the Europa League. I'm very excited about every competition that we're in. But you've got to then win games like this. And let's not forget that I think it was Gary O'Neill that beat us last season at Bournemouth, wasn't it, away? So he knows how to beat us.
Like that, there's another one,
He knows how to beat us.
Write that one down.
He come in late, didn't he, as well, for Wolves. So this would have acted as a mini little pre-season for him, this international break. He'll be telling his lads, and they'll be believing him, that they can go and beat Liverpool, especially with a number of players missing. So let's see how much stability Liverpool have got, because Jürgen's actually raised that question himself in the press conference, hasn't he?
Well, I think the unbeaten thing's interesting there, because I think the longer it goes on, the more last season becomes relevant in a funny way. Like if you win the first game of the season, well, we draw the first game of the season, don't we? If Jürgen starts going 12 unbeaten, everyone's like, oh, what are you on about? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's the first game, this is all that matters. But I think if it does get to October, like you say, I think even the players are going like, when was the last time we got beat? Do you know what I mean? Like, we haven't got beat for fucking ages, haven't we? Anyone remember who it was and stuff like that? And so I think it does become a bit of a thing that, as I say, earlier in the season, you're just trying to sort of get yourself going. But the longer it goes on, I think they will start to think about, hang on, this is like a proper period now. This is half a season. When you look at it with last year and this year bolted on, and since you went to the change with Trent and went a bit back to basics, or whatever it is you want to call it, whatever you want to say, what it go on. This is it's almost like a serious piece of work for a serious.
We go down to 10 men, we still can't beat us, we still win the games. All of that is helping this team gather that experience of these new memories, this new Liverpool. As soon as that happened with Darwin Núñez, the first thing I thought was that this is a new Liverpool. This is a new experience for them. We don't have to have any memories of any of the older players in the dressing room. They all felt it, they all experienced it, and like we said before, it was one of the best top wins away, wasn't it, away to Newcastle. So getting those, getting them under their belt is so important.
It is indeed. More of this to come in a second or two.
And Erdinger, please.
Don't forget the best bit.
It's a pleasure to be in the head of steam, settle down for this Friday night with Erdinger, the absolute business, back with Kev, Pete and John. And Kev, first and foremost, the goalkeeper doesn't play in either of his games, so he has to do the travelling, but he doesn't play. I suspect that's a bit annoying, frankly, but it's neither here nor there because he is the business. And for me, again, this news that's come out that he's signed a new deal, got himself a pay increase. I don't think I've ever heard news of a footballer getting a pay increase more and gone, well, he's deserved that. that one.
Every single penny he's in. Do you know what? That's the first I've heard about his new pay deal.
It's not a new deal. It's like something's triggered in his contract, but he's getting weighed in anyway.
Fair play to him, and as you said, he deserves every single penny of it. And the start of the season's been phenomenal, hasn't he? But he's just stepped up, and again, he's playing behind what at times has been a bit of a ragtag, like mishmash. See what's happening with who. Sen's going forward, now he's coming back. But he's been just totally consistent.
You play in goal, and what I think is dead interesting is that, you know, I obviously don't think you're a proper footballer, but the Liverpool manager emphatically does, and I feel at times when people talk about, for instance, when he has a really good game, we make decisions based on the fact that we think we've got the best goalkeeper in the world.
100%.
Like, and that's part of like the manager's thought process is, yeah, but he's the best one, so we can take more chances. And I think that's the bit that is missed, because they are actually proper footballers, and there's no proper footballer goalkeeper more than him. He's passed the whole team outlook, I think, in the same way that Ederson is at City. We make decisions because we know he can A, bail us out, but also B, he can contribute.
It's the most influential position on the pitch. If you've got a good one, like we have, as you've just said, the rest of your team plays on the fact that you've got a good one. If you've got an erratic one, who the rest of the team are worried about, plays on their mind. So whether they're thinking about it or not, subconsciously they always are. As you say, sometimes you see them make a decision, you're like, when obviously we get the benefits of replay and we get the benefits of being slowed down, and you're like, what are you doing? And then in the heat of the moment, they probably are just thinking, well, from that position there, if he gets it past Alisson, fair play to him. Because Alisson makes the saves where top corner, and he's not necessarily diving, he just skips across the line and he catches it, where other goalkeepers might push it out or whatever.
It's all about his footwork, isn't it?
Well, that's it. It is all about his footwork, but then his ability to get the play going again. So he starts to play from our, like the goal. Everyone plays out from goal kicks now, don't they? And more teams are getting caught out of it now. We just don't get caught out with it because we probably got. Listen, there's an argument to say Ederson's maybe got better feet than him. You wouldn't have it made by me, by the way. But what he does is he's the bedrock that everything else can be built upon. So you can say to Trent, go in the midfield, because we trust that. Now listen, sometimes it's going to go wrong because he can't save everything, but he deserves every penny of any increase that he's got. And I reckon if you're looking at the other players looking back at him, you're just going, I love you lad, you know, just constantly going.
I'm with that 100%, John. I think that's one of the major things he brings, is that, you know, we've obviously, none of us have played anywhere near high level football, but the idea of knowing.
Whoa, the Liverpool old boys for the fight the standard.
You'd like a word on that walkout, if you don't mind. When you've got that, when you know you've got someone like that behind you, that is, I think it must just offer so much assurance to them, as Kev says. It must relax them a little bit. At times, maybe they can be a little bit too relaxed, and we can have a chat about that, but I think they must just think, you know what, this fella's incredible.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Kev was talking about before about how they can shoot from there, but he's that good with the ball. Like, they probably think, oh, go ahead, shoot, because we'll counter him for it's good, you know what I mean? It's like,
he's going to catch that.
Yeah, he'll catch it, and then he'll launch it 50 yards, like he's fucking placed it, and then we'll be off. And so as soon as he gets the ball, you know, you can see Mo moving, you can see others moving, and he's starting attacks. He's sort of an asset where he's based. He's so good, and like you were joking before, when his money goes up, you're like, here's right, do you want to probably see as he get up 20 quid and he goes to Ali, like, you know, like, that's fine. And I've said a couple of times that before we had him, like, I think I undervalued in my head, like, what the difference, like, such an elite.
I've been telling you for years, haven't I?
Because I've been spoiled playing in front of Kev, you know, like, I just assumed that everyone felt that comfortable. But then when Virgil was like, nah, I've had bums, you know. You're lucky you've got Kev. But it is, he's just like, he's revolutionised the team as much as Virgil and as much as Mo Salah has, and so he deserves, you know, presumably he's meant to be paying now, isn't it? Presumably he's behind them two, and that's fair enough, isn't it? Because the three of them are elite for the positions.
The most influential players in the squad, the three of them, there's a discussion for Trent to be had that he'll eventually go that way, and you probably would imagine.
Well, he's on a new deal soon, so he's probably not going to be far.
And also he's a little bit younger. Those three though are the ones that if you take any of them out, irreplaceable. Like, you can play a different system to suit what you've got then, but the way we want to play with those three, you can't do it without them. And that's why he deserves, as you say, to be probably, what, 250 grand a week or whatever. And as you say, I'll throw 20 quid in if he needs any more.
There is around it all. It's why it's a little bit frustrating that there's no Trent this week because of his importance. But for me, Pete, you know, Gomez and Matip were really good against Villa. They were a shit show at Molineux last year, Matip especially, but I think Gomez doesn't cover himself in glory either. The manager loves throwing people back into those sorts of situations. He's like, go and prove that that was a one-off. I feel like this is a mad sentence, but I think Liverpool really need Joe Gomez to have a good season. I think if Joe Gomez does have a good season, Liverpool are on for a really good season, if you know what I mean. Like, because of his importance in terms of being able to come in when Trent isn't available. Because I actually think if Virgil wasn't a fit, but Konate was, it'd be Gomez who'd come in first. Though if Konate wasn't fit, I think Matip would because of the sides and all that sort of stuff. But I feel as though with Gomez in this one, I really want him to impress because I thought he was great against Villa. I thought he was so assured. I thought his passing was great.
We've seen him a few times, haven't we, come in and, over the last couple of years, and you thought, this is the Joe Gomez that we know. 3 days later, he just can't cope with the physical demands. You say Liverpool need it, Joe Gomez needs it, because it's been too many years now, and he's 26, 27, which is still really young. It's just, he's one of them players that, when you see him when he was at 18, that come through Liverpool, you thought he's going to be an absolute legend, and it's so disappointing to see how much he's been injury hit. So just for him as well, I think he needs to go and have a good crack at this and make a stake for the team, because we know quite well that Liverpool, if it's January or it's probably next summer, he will go in the market for defenders. So he's got to do his bit. But what you're saying before about Alisson, Van Dijk and Salah being so influential, if Liverpool want to go and win a league, or they're going to win trophies, you do need your Joe Gomez, your Origi in the Champions League final. You need your big part players to do their part. And unfortunately last season, every time we had someone come in, he wasn't really doing that, was he? So,
but I think Pete, as much it's about the system as much as the individuals. I think last season you see him, like, you realise it more and more just how much the system had broken down, and so players were coming in and being exposed, but also you'd always wanted your best players on the pitch, and if you didn't, you were shitting yourself. Now again, Kev said before, you might end up looking a bit silly, but like Virgil's out, Trent's out, you're like, I'll be sound, because you're back the system to work better, and when your system's working well, you can carry a couple. In fact, you probably don't even need to carry them, because they're able to come in and contribute
step up to the level
and sort of contribute, because everything's sort of working better, and so you're not. You know, this isn't me saying that the individual players aren't necessarily to blame for mistakes last season and stuff like that. There was players who had poor seasons within the context of the team having a poor season. But fucking hell, we didn't have to make it harder for them.
I point before about the tools at the disposal. That's why it works now better, because the tools are better. The midfield last year was terrible. Like, you're looking back on it now, you can objectively say it was terrible. Whereas you started this season, like Brazil 1974 or something, we were amazing.
And also the front line didn't press very well. This season they've been pressing brilliantly.
Well, there's probably a connection between that pressure to be coming back, isn't it? But the fact that these are new lads coming into a system, but they're brilliant, really makes the difference. And for someone like Joe Gomez, I really hope he does come on, because I'd love nothing better than us to sign a centre-half in the summer, and he's like fighting to be better in fourth position. Gomez won the league with Liverpool next to Van Dijk, and he was outstanding, and Van Dijk loved him. Now I think if you'd asked him now, he'd say, listen, I love playing with Konate, because they really are. There's great synergy between them, isn't it? One does one thing really well, the other does something else really well. Gomez has got all that in his locker as well, and it would be boss if you could just have in the summer, okay, we've got a very specific centre-half in mind now, because we've got Konate and Gomez for one job, and then we need someone that can do something similar to Virgil. And then you're looking at it thinking, actually we've got a bit of a forward plan here, because Joe Gomez has stepped up. Whereas if Joe Gomez reverts to what has been the mean for the last few years, you're then starting to go, well, we actually need two, so we could probably do it one who can do a bit of everything, rather than a specialised one. I think Liverpool in the past, when they've gone for something like that, probably a little bit less of a hit rate than when they've gone specifically, this is what we need, and we're going after this player for it.
Going to win tomorrow?
I think we will, yeah, I genuinely do. I think half 12 kickoffs and the malaise in our head is from last season, and it's for all the reasons we've just spoken about. I think we're a different team, I think we're a lot more solid. Thomas the boss last here as well, I mean, so we'll see.
He doesn't give a fuck what time he kicks off.
He's not asked, he's ready.
Going to win tomorrow?
I think it's a massive banana skin, but Liverpool are a serious football team, and they will be top of the league by the time Manchester City kick off, so yes.
You making it 3 out of 3?
Yeah, I think it'll be a nice classic 2-0 away from home, one goal in the first half, one goal in the second half, pretty boring, last on match of the day, sound.
All right. I, for one, absolutely can't wait for the game to kick off. I've absolutely murdered that pint, because it is what we're all about. I can't wait until Liverpool play Wolves. I genuinely can't wait to watch them even on the telly. It's so exciting at the minute. It's so great. Honestly, the manager's press conference today, at the end of it, I'd have absolutely sprinted a million miles if he'd have asked me to. Up the Reds.